the CDNT and Enable Ireland asked Trend Micro, invited us to speak and deliver this internet safety webinar. And we're delighted to do that and to support parents and guardians and families of children that need extra support. And we're delighted to do that tonight. And my name is Avril, like I said, and I work for a company called Trend Micro. Trend Micro are a global cybersecurity company. They're around for over 32 years. And I've been working for Trend Micro now for almost 20 years. And for 12 of those, I've been dedicated to internet safety for kids and families. And everything we do in community is free, absolutely everything. So anything you like tonight, it's on our website. Have a look at it, have a read, take it. It's there to download as well and to listen to and to engage with on our website. And I have 2 kids of my own. They're 12 and 15. And I can tell you the struggle is real when it comes to the internet and things online. So what I've learned, I want to impart with you. And also because I work for a cybersecurity company, I want to also share what I've learned through that experience with you as well. And if you've any questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A here on the webinar. And if you want to comment, please feel free to do so in the chat. And what I like to do is, you know, anybody, you know, you're more than welcome to chat to each other. And I think that's nice. And that's the feedback I usually get, that the parents like to talk to each other as well. You don't feel so alone. I did one last night as well. And it's good to just engage with others. So you can, you know, raise your hand and you can chat to each other and ask questions in the Q&A. If you've got questions, please put them in the Q&A, not in the chat, because the questions can get lost in the chat. Okay. Okay. So tonight's webinar is one of 3. It's actually one of 4. Okay. Tonight's webinar is to provide you with a framework on internet safety and to provide you with an understanding of, you know, we're not going to walk away after an hour tonight knowing everything. None of us ever will. But what you will do is have a framework and you'll know what to do if something happens and where to go. And the goal is that you feel empowered after this session, that you're not bombarded with information. You have enough to help you navigate the online world with your child. And the first one, like I said, is a global, like a broad overview. The one that we're going to do on the 8th of March is about gaming and social networks. And that's going to be very specific on games, gaming apps, and social networks, where I go and do a deep dive for you and show you what it is, how it works, how to set up the safety settings and all of that in both of them, in 3 popular games and 3 popular social networks. In the one in April, it's going to be on the 12th of April, same time as today, same dial-in details actually, but it's going to be on screen time and how to manage screen time with your kids. It can be a challenge, okay? So the last one that we're planning to do in May is going to be a recap of the 3 webinars and the most popular questions that were asked, and we'll share the answers with everyone on it, and then open it up for questions in general with our audience. And so I hope that gives you an idea of what we're doing with these sessions. Norma is the lady who I've been involved with over these past few months organizing this series of webinars for you. And unfortunately, Norma isn't well and she wasn't able to make it tonight. So she's here in spirit and she'll be watching it later. So with that, just to let you know, it's being recorded. And while it's being recorded, your video and your audio is muted, so you cannot be seen or heard. And you have the opportunity to comment as anonymous as well, if you prefer to be anonymous, so please do that. During the webinar, I will also ask some questions, and they are anonymous, and just to be aware of that. And yeah, I think that's it. I guess even before I share some slides with you, if you look at CyberSafe Kids annual report, they're a charity, a national charity organisation in Ireland. Their reports from last September were fairly clear when they did their research that 93% of 8 to 12-year-olds have owned their own devices, and 84% of those 8 to 12-year-olds have their own social media account, social network account on whatever favorite app they have. So that's important to be aware of, because social networks are, the minimum age is 13. But it really shows us how, as a nation, how devices are becoming so much part of our lives that 8 to 12-year-olds are actively engaged with technology. So if you look at the most popular apps out there, YouTube is the number one. But following close behind that is TikTok. It has 1 billion users monthly, active users. And then if you look at what's after that, after TikTok, it's WhatsApp and Snapchat following close behind. And you don't have to be techie to be listening into this webinar and this recording. This, Trend Micro are a global cybersecurity company for more than 30 years. And as part of the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program, our number one piece of advice to parents and educators and guardians out there is that the relationship with your child is the most important thing that you need to take care of as your child grows up in the online world and offline world. And there is no piece of technology that can take over from a parent. Absolutely. Will ever, never replace a parent, the role of a parent or guardian. And that's really important. Now, having said that, tech tools, safety settings, all these things are fantastic. And I'm going to explain that to you in a while. But bear in mind, it's in addition to the role of the relationship, or the parent and the relationship you have with your child. So bear that in mind. And I'll repeat that through this as well. And I hope that gives you a sense of comfort with this, that you don't have to be tech savvy to be in this webinar, and indeed to navigate with your child online. Okay, I'm going to share my slides. So the first question I just want to ask is about your kids and how old they are. And I'm just going to share a poll here, and all you have to do is just tick whichever you may have. It's multiple choice, so you might have a few different age groups in there. This is all anonymous, but it's just to get a feel for, the ages of the kids. And okay, so 11 to 14, that's really good to know. And some 6 to 10 close behind. So that's really good to know. So in general, what you've said as our audience, it's 6 to 10 and 11 to 14 are the age that we're looking at here. Okay, so the next question that I want to just ask you briefly is, what are you most interested to learn tonight? Managing screen time for your kids? Are you wanting to know more about how to help your kids stick to age-appropriate content? Dealing with online bullying and hate? Ideas for positive use of the internet? I'm just not sure, but you're here to learn something new. So I'm just going to launch that poll as well there for you. And all you have to do is just tick, it's multiple choice, it can be a number of them. It's up to you. Which one are you most interested in? Okay, so I'll just share the results there. And it's interesting, you know what? Managing screen time and age-appropriate content, and who knows, something new. That's something in every webinar. Last night I did a webinar, this morning I did a webinar, and it's the same. And I can tell you now that it's parents, not just in Ireland, because the work that we do in the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program all over the world is the same for parents everywhere. These are the same things that parents are most keen to learn about and to understand more about, and they want to kind of get to grips with it. So a lot has changed, especially in the last 2 years with COVID and the pandemic. A lot has changed, but some things didn't. Children still need guidance. Structure and routine is so important. And, the risks are still there online. They will always be there online, but there's a lot we can do, a lot. And we have to remember that the benefits are there as well. So every time you hear about a bad story or terrible thing that's after happening online with young kids or young people, remember that there are so many positive stories and so many benefits to the internet as well. And it's we need to keep those two things in mind, not allow one to overtake the other. Good digital citizenship is about, it's still a priority. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but digital citizenship is what it is. When we're not around, as our kids get older, we want our kids to grow up and to make responsible decisions. That's the goal, isn't it? Online or offline. And so how do you break down that? If we're to focus tonight on some really important things with digital citizenship, to be a digital citizen, our kids online, what does that actually mean? It means that we want them to be safe and secure, and that they know themselves, what does it mean to be safe online? And what does it mean to be secure online? And that is really important education for children. And we can start doing that now. And I'm going to go into that more with you in a while. Digital literacy. A lot of children, particularly with learning difficulties and disabilities, they need assistive technology to help them in school, to help them, on a daily basis with basic things even. It's really important to their everyday lives. So how to use a device, multiple devices. But also I would not just say digital literacy, I'd say media literacy, in such fact that when kids are online and they read stuff, how do they know they can trust it? What do they do to make sure it's trustworthy? And we've got some lovely stuff to talk to kids about that you can take yourself or ask your kids' teachers to do work on in school. So media and digital literacy is really important. Ethics and community. When our kids are online, that they're responsible, that they're respectful, and that they're bearing in mind that the community around them, anything that they do online, they're mindful of that. And mastery. When our kids are online, we want them to master the online world. We want them to use it for their own benefit, for the benefit of their family, friends, community, and for their field. I mean, most likely they may use technology when they grow up, and they will need it as part of their everyday lives. So being able to master it is the goal. So these are the 4 areas of what digital citizenship is really all about when it comes to our kids. And how we've broken this up for you for this talk is in 4 different pieces. Everyone has a right to be online, and everyone has a right to be safe, be kind, and be savvy. So when I say be online, we need to know how to set up the environment around us at home, and to make sure that that's set up in school as well. And the rules are there to protect children. And then examples, leading by example. I'm going to go into that first. Then I'm going to talk to you about safety, about privacy, about protecting our information and protecting ourselves. And everything that you learn tonight, you dilute that down or dial it up depending on your kids and their age. And it's just really important to, that relationship, conversation, active listening, getting involved, being there for them. This is really important. So everything you learn, share that with them. Tell them what you've learned. Great way to start a conversation. Kindness to others and to self. It's really important that kids need to be mindful of that, be aware of that. And savvy. How do we use it? Like that mastery piece. How do we use it? How do we have healthy, good habits online and be successful online? Okay, so we're going to start with setting up the environment. And it's about the physical space. And it's very easy, and you may know this yourself, when kids have tablets, they throw themselves on a beanbag or a couch or a bed, and they're all crocked up and they're not sitting straight, and then they've pains in their neck, or they could be getting headaches. And so physical health when you're on a device is really important, and it's really important to explain that to kids. You're on a device for any period of time, you need to have your posture right, your 2 feet on the ground, your head and shoulder, your hands on the keyboard, and proper distance. Now, if they're not on a desktop and they're not on a laptop and they're on an iPad, they may have a keyboard. And if they're ever typing and they're learning to type and all of that, it's just really important to have that conversation with them about their physical health. They need to do things in a quiet environment to help them focus. And lighting. So for example, lighting is very important. But also this 30-30-30 rule. If you're on a device and looking at a screen for quite a long time, every 30 minutes, look away for 30 seconds and look out the window or look somewhere that's 30 feet away. And that really helps your eyes, just give your eyes a bit of exercise and a break from the screen every 30 minutes. And walk away, have some exercise. So I mentioned seating and movement is really important. And this is just something I forgot to take it out. I was organizing too many things before. These are screen glasses to protect you from the blue light that's emitted from your device. Now, in settings, you can turn it down. You can go into settings and go to night shift mode and turn the volume of the shade on it. So you turn it down to a darker shade, or you can set it up in settings that from 7 o'clock at night until 8 in the morning, the night shift mode is on, and it's dim. And the reason for that is because at nighttime, melatonin is secreted in our brains, and it makes us yawn, and it prepares our mind and our body to relax and go to sleep. And if we're on devices and this blue light is coming off the screen, it actually slows down the production of this melatonin, so we're not tired. Might as well be drinking coffee. So it's really important to be mindful of that. Tell kids about it, and these glasses are a great way, even during the day, if you find kids or yourselves are on devices a lot, you can see the reflection there. It's just protecting your eyes from that not that radiation, but that light that's being, can cause harm on your eyes if you're on the screens a lot every day. You can get them everywhere. I've seen them in Tiger. You can get them online, and they're not expensive. It's only a bit of plastic really, but it's the sheet here. So it's the lens that you're looking at. It's protective lenses for screens. Okay. So I'm just looking at the chat there just to see, but I think Maria's sorted you out already. So move on to the next slide. Setting up your environments. That's your physical space, right? Your environment is then the next thing you have to do. Have a look around your environment in your home, okay? Your router depends on the broadband, the Wi-Fi, the quality of it that you have. If you've got excellent broadband connection, you're really lucky, and it's a great thing to have. Within that, you can log onto your router. You have to log in and make an account. So whatever the name of it is, whatever your service provider is, find out what it is. You can log on and see what type of service you're getting. There could even be parental controls and different things in there that can really help you from a router base to protect kids and their safety settings. Often you'll find that there's actually 2 passwords within the Wi-Fi in your home. And that's so that you can split it. So give the kids one and the adults the other, just for bandwidth on your Wi-Fi. And if your router has a lot of settings where you can manage access to websites and restrictions and set up restrictions, then it's a great way to do it. So the adults get they full access, but the kids on the other Wi-Fi, they have that password, and that's the way they go in and access it. So it's a great thing to do. So be aware. Now, if you have really poor Wi-Fi and you have a thing you plug in the wall like I do here, and at home, you may not get that quality of a router, but it's no harm in looking. You'd be surprised what there might be on it. Wi-Fi extender. In my home, the walls are really thick, and I have a room where the Wi-Fi is great, and then I have other rooms. Even if I had broadband, the other rooms don't have great quality because the walls are so thick. A booster, it's called a Wi-Fi extender. So if you go into any of these shops that sell devices, you can get these Wi-Fi extenders. They cost 30, 40 euros. You plug them into the room in the socket where you're sitting with your device. And basically the Wi-Fi travels down the electricity. You get a better connection in the room. So it's an excellent thing to have. And staggering use of time, if everyone in the house needs Wi-Fi and it's pulling on the Wi-Fi, it might be worth looking at, okay, we need to stagger it so that we all manage our stress levels when we're trying to download, upload, and do work or do whatever we need to do. So staggering time is a good one to be mindful of. So that's the network environment, but you've also got to think about security. And I wouldn't be doing my job a justice, given that I work for Trend Micro, a cybersecurity company, if I didn't talk to you about security. So every device that you have that connects to the internet has to be protected. And we strongly recommend that it's protected with security software, so that you're not downloading anything on your device. Usually you wouldn't know if you are, and it's there dormant. So it's really important to have that to protect your device from malicious software and things that you're not even aware of as you go into different websites and things and you're browsing on your devices. Update your devices. When you get that software update notice and you think, oh, just let it go, I'm busy. It's really important, and I'll tell you why. Software updates are basically when there's a threat and vulnerabilities out there, cyber criminals, they're doing new things every minute of the day, and they're trying to infiltrate devices and get into things. Whatever device you have, that company is putting a patch on your device. It's called a software update to protect your device from that new threat or that new vulnerability. And that's why it's so important to update your device regularly, so that you're downloading the best protection for your device. If you don't, then you're exposed to those threats and your device isn't protected. So that's why it's so important, right, to do those software updates, and on your kids' devices as well. And tell them this so that they understand it. Strong passwords, they have to be long to be strong, 13 digits at least. And passphrases as well. If you have a lot of passwords, you may already be using something like a password manager or on your device that'll take your password for you and manage it for you. And you can pay for them and subscribe to them every year, and you just have one password, and all you do with every password you have, it goes in there, and it's encrypted and protected, and it minds them for you and it logs you on automatically. But other than that, you have to do your own passwords yourself. Just make sure they're not called password, and they're something that's not easy to guess. And kids have a habit of doing easy passwords. So it's really important that you set up passwords with your children and explain to them why passwords have to be strong. And the other thing that comes hand in hand with passwords is multi-factor authentication. And that basically is two-factor authentication. It's basically, we all know what it is actually. When you go to your bank and you put in your bank details, you can't just get into your bank with your PIN. You have to give them another code, and that's sent to you either on your phone or it could be sent to you by email. And that code you have to key in to your account in order for them to allow you in. And basically what they're doing is they're making sure that it's really you that's logging in. So if someone actually did get your password, they won't have access to your phone or your email to get the code as well. So it's a double lock on your door, so to speak. That analogy is really good. So explain that to kids. Kids that love gaming, they can be such an easy target for scams. If they click links, if they, hackers and cyber criminals, kids on gaming apps are a pure target for this. So having two-factor, multi-factor authentication is an absolute must if any of you are on gaming. But I'd recommend it just to set it up on everything. Just be safe, double safe on everything you use, every app, and even on the device itself. So explain that to kids, and I'll show you something really cool in a while that we have for you to do with kids that will explain all of this really easy and in a fun way. A virtual private network. So your device may already have this built in and you're paying for it, or you may not know about it. But basically, say for example, you're out in a cafe and you're using Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi. If you're paying for a virtual private network, what it's basically doing is you're using the public Wi-Fi, but it's actually like a virtual tunnel around your Wi-Fi to protect you so that nobody can access your private information traveling to and back from the internet to your device. In the cafe, for example, you can use public Wi-Fi, but VPN gives you that extra layer of protection. Okay, so practicing good habits. So just to summarize, regularly update your software. Passwords have got to be a phrase, change them often, never share them, and make sure they're long. And back it up and store safely. And by that I mean, if you have lots of photographs and videos on your device, have you got a backup for it? Because if you spilled a drink on it in the morning, or you dropped it and it got crushed, a car rolled over it, it's happened, have you lost everything on your device? Is it gone? Or have you got it backed up and stored safely? So that, unfortunately, you have to buy a new device. But when you do buy that new device and set it all up, you can access all your data again through your device, whether it be Android or Apple, through the cloud, and download all of it again. And you won't lose those important documents, photos, videos, or whatever. So kids need to understand that too. They really do, because as they get older, it becomes more and more important. And we all know exams and tests in school, the last thing you want to do is do a 40-page essay and then lose it all without saving it and backing it up. So really important for kids to know. So that's, the physical environment, security, the actual house and Wi-Fi itself. And then we need to talk about tech tools. So whatever devices, you may have a mix of all of these. You might have laptops with Microsoft Office. You might have some people in your home with Android devices and some with iOS devices. what this slide is really, the message is trying to get across to you is that there are absolutely excellent tech tools within these devices. You do not have to go and buy stuff to keep your family safe. They're in here. You just have to find them. And what do? They do the things that you really want them to do. And you mentioned earlier when I asked you the question, what are the things you're really interested in? Age appropriate content. You don't want your kids to just access things instantly. And it's so easy with a device now, isn't it? So you want to be able to restrict their access to everything depending on their age. And you want to manage their time online. You don't want them 24 hours a day and coming down in the middle of the night when you don't know it and being on their device. You want to be able to manage that with them. Monitor what they're doing online, you know? And in-app purchases is basically, you don't want your kids downloading loads of apps and buying loads of stuff on your credit card automatically without you knowing. So in-app purchases, that's what that means. You can organize all those and set them all up with controls in place on your kids' devices, but that you manage and coordinate from your own device. And they're all in here. Just remember that, okay? And okay, so where will I find these things? You will find them everywhere. So if you start on the router, okay, and you look at your router, like I said earlier, it depends. If it's a real fancy one, you've got this excellent broadband, you mightn't have great Wi-Fi, then you mightn't have such a great service in your router. But have a look, see what kind of a router you have. Check the code on it, put it into the browser and say, what does this router have safety settings? What, you know, just log in and see the features of it, features of this router. You'd be surprised what you might find. Usually you have to log in, set up an account, and then you can explore and, you know, see what they have. Devices. So this device, my own device in settings, has so much in here to protect me and to manage me. So if I'm mindlessly scrolling when I'm exhausted and I just want to look at stupid things on Instagram, this will only allow me 15 minutes and it tells me, Avril, you set a timer here to not mindlessly scroll. So time up. And I have to actually go in and enter my passcode to give me some more time. So it's helping me manage me on my device. You can do the same for yourselves. You can do the same for grandparents. You can do the same for young children and teens and tweens. The only thing I would say to you is, again, you know, you obviously we're not going to discuss the rules with a 2-year-old. You're just going to put them in place. But when it comes to 6, 7, 8, and as they're getting older, it has to be all about the conversation, discussing what rules we should be in place, what do you like, what you want to do online, and let's talk about this. You can't be on it all the time. There's a lot of stuff to do in a day. So agree rules together. And if you involve kids in agreeing those rules together from the get-go, the chances are if they break those rules, they're more inclined to go with them because they were part of the agreement in the first place and setting them up. And that's so important. And getting involved with your kids. So if your kids are gaming on Roblox, then set up a Roblox account and see what it's all about. Why do your kids love Roblox? What is it they're doing? What are they getting in gaming that they're not getting in the real world? I promise you this, you will get a whole new insight into your kids, you know, and it's fun. But the reason I'm saying it is your kids now think, right, they played at me. They know what this game is all about. I'm going to be able to talk to them about the stuff that's going on online. So you're actually opening up another channel of communication, because kids, when we work with them, especially young tweens and teens, they say, I'd love to talk to my parents about the stuff going on online, but they just don't understand. They don't know what's going on. So it's hard to talk to them because they don't understand. And after these talks, parents will say, what will you do more of? I'm going to talk more to my kids, go and get more involved with my kids. I don't feel so afraid of it all now. I know I can just get in there. So it's really important that we come together with kids and build rules together. So devices I mentioned, and your service provider could have cool stuff there. Just find out, put it online, put in your service provider's name and what does this service offer me when it comes to protecting kids online. Security software, any decent, good security software will have family safety protection on it. The app stores have it. And in the apps themselves. So for example, look at these here. You have TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. If you go into any one of those, the cog in the wheel, that's the safety settings. And on the next webinar, I will be going into actually these 3. These are the 3 social networks I'm going to tell you all about. what they are, how they work, why they're so popular, and where are the safety settings and what do you do when you get there. So I'm going to show you that. And I've also got 3 games, Roblox and Fortnite, just to mention 2, that I will go into in more detail. So, okay, setting the rules. Now we comes to the kids, right? Because you've got all that, the physical, the environment, all the router, the Wi-Fi, the tools, the tech tools behind you. You have to also consider what devices they're on, when they're going to be on devices, because if they have assisted technology, they'll need it in school too. And then it's very hard to, are they doing their homework or are they, So in the ideal world, they'd have 2 separate devices, but that is a luxury, isn't it? And it's quite an expensive one. Not every family has that. If you do, great. Separate work from school that way. Work from school. Separate schoolwork from enjoyment and fun online for kids by 2 separate devices. Okay. If you can. But otherwise, it's just about agreeing rules with them about homework time and then playtime online. And how long? So how long is such a contentious issue? How long should my kid be online? Because I'm worried about them. They're online too long. They're online all the time. I can't get them off it. And you may find also, it could be a regulating thing, that they're regulating and they're getting something out of being online. Please don't get hung up on the amount of hours and minutes. It cannot be about the hours and minutes, because what you're going to do is you're going to create this forbidden fruit, and they're just going to keep wanting more and more and more. 15 more minutes, please. Another 15 more minutes, please. Does that sound familiar to any of you? So, that's what you do. It has to be, the focus has to be when it comes to what they're doing online. Are they doing quality things online? Are they enjoying themselves? Are they having fun? Are they talking to their friends and family, staying in touch with them? Are they learning new things? Are they researching? Are they developing skills? What are they doing online? And whatever you find, whatever kids' skills are and their natural talents, that's kind of our job to help them figure that out, right? Find it out and then bring them to clubs. You may even find online groups that will help develop them, writing clubs, coding clubs, art clubs, video clubs. There's so much. You just need to figure out what it is their talents and skills, and then find a way to nurture that skill for them. And that's quality time online. You know that when they're online, they're learning new stuff and they're developing themselves. That notion of that idea of mastery, mastering the online world, using the online world for their own personal benefit and success. Where I would say to you that under no circumstance should devices be in the bedroom if you can at all avoid it. Now, I know during COVID, everybody took a room if they were lucky enough to get a room each to get homework and all that kind of thing done. But devices in the bedroom, especially at night, are a no-no, because you don't know what they're doing, who they're talking to, what they're doing, how long they're up for. If they wait during the night and everyone's asleep, are they still on it? So a device is out of the room. And I would go as far as to say an hour before bed, it shouldn't be on in the first place. The device is off an hour before bed. And that helps earlier. Remember what I said about melatonin? Switches the brain down, calms them down, relaxes them. Get a different type of routine, reading books, gentle music, chatting with family, whatever it is, but just helping them wind down. Now, obviously, I wouldn't recommend you do that first thing tomorrow night without telling them, because that will not go down well. It's about, again, the conversation, explaining, and kids listen to logic. So the more logical you are, and you explain to them about, all of these things, they will listen and they'll understand. They might not like it, but they'll understand. And agreeing those rules together. Where they are is really important, especially if they're under 12 or you feel you need to keep an eye on them. Have them in your line of vision. It doesn't matter how many tech tools and safety things that you've locked down. You never know, and nothing is 100% safe, and you need to just keep an eye on them. Listen to what they're saying to their friends. Your own kids, if things aren't going right, check in on them. And with whom? This is so important to talk to kids about. Never accept friends, requests from strangers. People lie about who they are online, and kids can be very naive about this and trusting. So you're only allowed, kids, talk to friends and be friends with people that you know in the class or family or friends that we know. Anyone new that you don't know, you come and talk to me. Again, the relationship thing, okay? But explaining to them why. And I'll give you more examples of that. But, setting the example, what rules do you have for yourself? What's your relationship like with your own device? What I would say is device-free meals is great. You might decide a device-free evening once a month or once a week. Green time versus screen time. Make a thing of it. Board games. We all know what that's like when the electricity goes out and we're stuck with board games, but it actually turns out to be great fun. So, have set up rules, not set up rules, set up, be the example, lead by example. And monkey see, monkey do. What's that saying? Kids do 1% of what you say, but 100% of what you do. Meal times, I keep the device away from the table. It's 20, 30 minutes. It's great to have conversation and talk to each other and catch up. They see there's no device. Nobody's sitting at the table with devices. And your relationship with your device, reflect on that first, because what you don't want is setting rules with your kids and they say, well, how come you can do it and I can't, So you have to emulate, practice what you preach, and maybe there are changes that you want to make too, and you make the changes with them. This is something I want to tell you right now, because the Cyber Academy, this is all free. Everything we do is free and it's available on this website. You literally go to that website and you can do it. The Cyber Academy is for kids from 7 to 10 years of age. But I would say to you, it's not just 7 to 10. It's for kids a lot older as well. These are the episodes that are launched, and camera safety is also in there. Take the password challenge. It's a short animated video, 3 minutes long. Then there's a conversation guide. So if your kids are like 12, 13, 14, and you look at it and you think, no, that's a bit too 7 to 10 for them now, take the conversation guide. And there's questions and answers in there. Look at the questions. A great opportunity just to have a chat with your kids about it. The young tweens, just to help them. You want them to be savvy online, not to fall for things. So this is a great way. And then there's like a Kahoot quiz they might like on the website. And there's also an activity sheet. I'll show you that later. But just to bear in mind, look, passwords, 2-factor authentication. There's an episode on that to talk to your kids about. Privacy. Imagine having a good conversation with young kids or tweens and teens about privacy and security and healthy habits online. So just bear that in mind. We've sent out the link there in the chat as well. So please feel free to use it. It is free. People think there's you have to pay or there's something. It's free and it's on the website. You don't have to register, nothing. It's all there for you. Okay, so safety, privacy. The one thing when it comes to privacy online, if you want to protect your privacy, is don't put anything out there. That's the only way you can protect your private stuff online. Don't put it out there. But there are things that we want to do and use, and everything is just becoming the internet of everything. We do everything online. So passwords, 2-factor authentication is really important. So is privacy settings. This is why we talk to kids about it too, because you never know who's watching. You never know who's waiting to take information at the prime opportunity. And there are ways we can counteract that. This is just an example of Fortnite, which I'll be going into in more detail in the next webinar. But you need to go into Fortnite and go to the privacy and lock it down. Otherwise, kids will be playing with everyone at every age, with all sorts of language going on and all sorts of everything. So that's how you do it. Hit private, go to the private and apply, and then they're not playing in a public zone within Fortnite. But I'll be going through this in more detail on the next webinar. But that's an example of privacy, and they all tend to start looking the same after a while. So when we talk to young people, okay, that went up too fast there. When we talk to, I'm too fast with it. When we talk to young people, young tweens, 11, 12 upwards, and we ask them, how much does it cost to use your favorite app? Like, what is it, Roblox or Snapchat or TikTok? How much does it use? How much does it cost to use? And they say, oh, it's free. Maybe you have to pay for Wi-Fi to use it, but it's free. And then you ask me, sure, because when you download that app for the first time, what's the first thing you have to give away and agree to before you can use it? The terms and conditions, the rules. Yes. If you don't like these rules, don't accept them and don't use the app. That's basically the way it is. But we all love the apps and the games and we want to use them and our friends are on them and we all want them. But what kids don't understand is, and this is where it's our responsibility, we need to understand what we're actually accepting here. And they're all pretty much the same. TikTok is a really easy terms and conditions if you ever fancy reading one. You own everything on the social network, on the app. You own all everything you see or everything you like, comment on, share, create. You are the owner of it. By accepting this, though, you allow the organization that owns the app to do whatever they want with your information, whenever, wherever, forever. Kids really get upset about this, their privacy. They care about their privacy. Young people really do. So, okay, you just don't use it, kids, but they really love it. So the key here is think before you post. And we know that kids' prefrontal cortex doesn't develop till their mid-20s. So it's really important to nurture that whole idea with kids from a young age. You know, when you post something online, it doesn't just disappear if you delete it, or it doesn't just disappear on Snapchat after 24 hours. There's copies, there's a record, there's a digital trail. And if you look closely at the terms and conditions, it says in a court of law, they will be required to hand that over if they're asked by a court. So very, very important to be aware of that. And the whole idea around this conversation with kids is think before you share stuff. You want the whole world to see it. Very important. Assume nothing is private. When kids go online and they get their device and they get their first social network account, welcome to your public life is pretty much what you need to say to them. And this is where the conversation starts and the privacy settings and, you know, hopefully well before they get their first account. Protecting your information is another one. I'm sure every one of you on this call has received those text messages saying your account has been put on hold because someone's tried to get at it. Click the link here. Please do not click that link and do not phone the number they provide and do not answer numbers you're not familiar with. If it's important, they leave a voicemail and you call them back on the number that you know. If you're anyway suspicious, go onto a browser and search, okay, my bank, just, you know, ring the bank and ask them, you know, this happened, or, you know, or ring the post office, parcel arriving, I owe you money. I don't think so. I don't even know if I ordered anything. So just be vigilant. And security software is really important here as well, because it'll stop ads from popping up. It'll stop things being downloaded onto your device without you realizing it, ransomware, malicious software. So it's really important. And to talk to kids about this. Don't click on pop-ups. Free offers. The chances are there's no such thing as free and you're the product here. So don't click, don't fall for it, kids. And just to talk to them about that. And one word of caution just about the camera is, you know, kids love the camera, they love making videos, they love editing. You know, there's a lot of games out there where you can make videos. I know there's one called Gotcha Life. There's Roblox, there's loads of fun things where you can make and edit videos, and there's lovely video editing apps and things like that. And that's great. When photos are shared with others and when kids have devices and, you know, this whole idea of accepting friends that you know in the real world, it becomes so important because, like I said earlier, you need to say to kids, explain, you know, they lie about who they are. Not everyone is honest as you. They lie because they're looking for something. They're looking for money. They're looking for information. Maybe they want my credit card, but they're trying to be your friend to get stuff off you. They might even offer to give you free things to get more off you. So anytime that anyone you don't know tries to talk to you, you come to me straight away. Again, you don't overreact. You don't confiscate devices if they do something that you're like, oh my God, I thought we talked about this. The key here is that you have a safe space for kids that they know they can come to you about anything. They know you won't overreact. They know you won't take the device away. That's a rule I made with my kids. I promise you, I threaten, but I don't. I've never. And they trust me with that. And the reason for it is if you take a device away as a lesson learned, they won't do that again now. They won't be that mean and they won't say those things again. The chances are, you know, you don't see it happening again. So problem solved. Isn't that great? The confiscation of the device worked. But how kids may interpret that is, I'm not going to talk to them about things like that anymore because I just take my device away. So it can be a double-edged sword. So be very careful how you use that. If you talk about it together, and they're fed up and they're just annoyed with themselves and they just don't want the device for a week and they want you to take it away, that's different. That's where you both come together and talk about it and you're helping them figure it out, you know, and kids will make mistakes online. So you need to all just accept it. Just accept that they will and be prepared and ready for when they come to you. Overreact with another adult later. But when you're with them, just listen. They just want to be listened to. You mightn't even know the answer or how to help. Just being there and listening to them and helping them figure it out. And they'll always keep coming back to you. The problems really start when the talking stops. And that's what we need to remember. So making sure, having that conversation with the kids, this is something that it's not something we like talking about, but we need to be aware of it as parents, as guardians, as educators, that sexual coercion exists. It's blackmailing kids, kids that are online a lot and that are not supervised and that haven't got settings nailed down. They can be targeted by cyber criminals and people that have either of a sexual nature intentions or financial intentions. And they want photographs from you and videos of you, inappropriate photos, inappropriate videos. And once they get one, because they're friends and the whole lot, then they start thinking, if you don't give me more, I'm going to share them. They're blackmailing you then, and they want more money, or they want your siblings to get involved and more. So this is real. This has happened in Ireland, and we do not want it in our community. And the only way we can prevent this from happening is to be aware of it, but also to talk to our kids about it, and young tweens, teens. Now, obviously, you'll have to dilute it depending on their age and their ability to understand what you're saying. But they're not stupid. They listen to logic and they'll appreciate that information to come to you if anything's suspicious. Kids know when someone's a bit funny online, but maybe sometimes they don't. And that naivety and that vulnerability is something that we as parents, especially kids that have any vulnerabilities at all or learning difficulties, we're extra sensitive to it and nervous about it. So the conversation is really important, and that kids know they can come and talk to you. Okay. And this is another episode called the Camera Safety Challenge. And it's a 3-minute video, a fabulous conversation guide to talk to your kids about it. Doesn't matter what age they are. Just take, maybe the video is a bit too young for them. It's 7 to 10, but it's, it'll still work on 11, 12-year-olds, depending on their ability. But the conversation guide, just take that even, print it off and have a look at it. There's questions and answers, and have a chat with them to make sure that they understand the really important things that are going on with camera, how to use the camera safely, and safety settings and privacy settings, and who are my friends, who's allowed to talk to me, who can I share things with, should I share them with everyone or just a few people. So all of these things, it's all in this episode, and it's a great bit of fun. It takes 10 minutes. Every episode takes 10 minutes. Did I mention it's free? So please just go to the website, and it's trendmicro.com, internet safety. Okay, so we just have 10 minutes left, and I just have a few more slides. And once I'm finished the slides, I will stay on the call for any questions that you have. And I know Maria has been kind and she's helping in the background answering your questions. If there is any others, I will stay until all your questions are answered. But just to conclude on kindness to yourself and to others. And I think, we need to start and we need to end with kindness. And there's a lovely teacher I've been friends with for years, and he always says to me, err on the side of kindness. You never know what's going on in someone's life, at home, at school, anywhere. And it's really important. And, kids, when they go online, there is a pressure to perform if it's gaming in front of their peers. And if they're not good enough and not leveling up fast enough, there's pressure, and there can be mean comments and things like that. And it's important to say to your kids, stand up for them. If there's anything mean being said, call them out in it. Because if you call it out, you kill it. You name it, you tame it, and you can kill it quickly like that. There's a pressure to perform, but there's also with gaming and things like that, but there's also pressure to conform. And it's the same with us adults. But when we see, the perfect mom, perfect 10 children, perfect dinners, perfect house, perfect body, perfect clothes, perfect holidays, perfect everything, you and I know that they have a gym instructor and a chef and a chauffeur and childminders 24/7. So we kind of can dilute it down and say, well, I can't do that because I live in the real world, But for kids, it's different. And when they go on these social networks, they feel that pressure to be perfect, and their self-esteem and their confidence can take quite a hit. And they have to, they feel that they have to conform to all these things that others are doing. So it's important to have those conversations with them, say it out, and, who we choose to follow. I do a clean out of my Instagram at the end of every year. Am I really wanting to follow them? Are they filling my bucket with good stuff, or are they emptying my bucket? It's important to ask that question and do it yourselves and talk to your kids about it. So starting with kindness, it's the right thing to do, kids. It reflects on you, and us as parents, we can establish norms. doing random acts of kindness and bringing our kids along the way, they see that, they'll emulate that over time. It just rubs off and absorbs into them. And respecting others, so that we and our kids need to understand that other families are very private. They don't like their photographs being taken. They don't like their photographs being shared. And they appreciate when they're asked first. So kids, if you want to take a photo or make a funny video, you ask your friend for permission first, but also ask their parents. And think about it. If a kid is saying, is it okay if I take that a photo and share it with just this group, just this? I won't if you don't want me to. What that child is saying to the other person is, I'm asking you for permission. I'd appreciate in return. You never do anything but asking me either. So it's creating norms. And we need to do more of this. And respecting kids' time offline, that phone or that tablet hopping with notifications. Kids need to understand that when they're not answering, they'll get back. It's this impatience constantly. You have to be on all the time. So talking to kids about kindness and respect as powers that we possess, when we use them, incredible things can happen. It is so important. And one thing we can do every day as parents is explain to kids and remind them that just who they are online does not represent their whole life, the value, their personality, their everything. They are way more than that. And now is the time to think about, what are their strengths, what are their talents, remind them of those things and try and bring them into groups or clubs or maybe it's online if they're quite introverted or, some way to engage kids in their favorite things to bring them out themselves. So when times do get tough, they have something that they love to fall back onto. So, they're greater, their value is greater than who they are online. And we can remind them of that. Being savvy, good habits, good uses. Have you ever looked yourself up online? Have you ever gone in and put your name into the browser and had to look to see what's up there about you? Be interesting, have a look. And then ask your kids to do it and ask them, what do they think now of you? Because this instant bias we have in 3 seconds when you see someone, you're naturally just making a call on what you see based on what you see. Kids are doing the same. Everyone does the same online. And it may not be fair because it can be something that doesn't really accurately represent you, but people are seeing that online and they will make a judgment on it. So we have to be careful and think about what we share online and are we happy for it to be out there forever? Because it is out there forever. So this is a great way to kind of have an exercise with your kids. Look me up online. What do you think? What do you see? What kind of a story does it tell about me? Everything you put out online paints a story about who you are. Paints a picture. So who do you want to be online? And that's where you want kids to be thinking. Who do I want to be? So good uses. There are so many great things to do online. It is unbelievable. And even safety settings and privacy settings, you can find them all online. I can't set up Xbox safety settings on the TV. Put it into the browser. I'm telling you now, it's all there and it's so easy to follow. Doesn't matter what you're looking for, it's there. Kids, they can raise funds, a cause that's really important to them. It could be the environment, it could be animal pets care, whatever it is. There are causes online that they can follow and, it's fabulous stuff. National Geographic, there's so much great stuff. You just have to match what your child is interested in with something appropriate online and help them research. So new skills. I said earlier about, when your child comes home and they want the latest, hottest app that everyone in their class has, and they're the only ones that don't have it, research it together. And you tell them what you're worried about, what you need to look at. You want to see what the age rating is. You want to see, is it, what are the reviews saying about it? What actually is it about? Common Sense Media is a great thing to look at to give you reviews about a game, a movie, a book, an app, and it'll give you reviews on what parents say and what kids are saying. So it's really great, but researching together, you're showing kids so much by doing things together, and you're asking them as well, why do you want the app? What's so fun about it? So it's about meeting halfway. You can learn how to coding, creating websites, software development, all online, and there's so much of it free. Learning how to play the guitar, how to dance, improve your art, improve your swimming technique. Writing, creating a blog, setting up a blog, even if it's just a private blog where you write all your stories in there. And then when you're 25, you can look at all the stories and articles that you wrote over 20 years. You have a record of them. You might decide to go public. It might become a book that's published. So it's important to tell kids about these things. And if you don't know, oh my God, they're great at writing, but how do I set up a blog with them? How do I create a blog, a private blog for my child? I'm telling you now, it's that easy. Safety settings, remember that one too. Massive online open courses. Please remember this. All of us could change our careers on the couch in the evenings doing these courses. Now, there's a lot of them that are free, but there are certified ones as well where you have to pay for the certification. But these courses are from Harvard, from MIT, from Allison.com, and they're short courses, maybe a week, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, or a year, 6 months, depends on what you want. Some you have to pay for, but a lot of them are free. And I always encourage teens in secondary school to use these because, right, 50% of kids drop out of the first year in college. Why? They chose the wrong course. It wasn't what they thought it was. If kids are doing free courses online now, they're getting to figure out, oh my God, that course wasn't not what I thought it was. So glad I did that week's taster during my Easter holidays. Ain't going to be doing that. Or I loved it, but I don't want to do that. I want to venture off into forensic, whatever it is. You know, it's actually in helping them make informed decisions and not under pressure by the time they get to the leaving cert. That's if they want to go to college. They mightn't want to. So remember that whether you're a kid or an adult, there's courses on here for everyone. So maybe you might, it could be something your child is interested in. Pick it, go in here and have a look, and you will find courses. And it might even be worth paying for something so that your child gets that. The Khan Academy. So when my kids have difficulties with maths, especially, I go to the Khan Academy. It's an app, free app. You download, you set the kid up on it. You go to maths and you go to the class, the age group that your child is in, and then you pick the topic, fractions. Just don't get it, or the time. Just don't get the time. They have such amazing visuals to help kids understand the time. Short little videos. It is excellent. Khan Academy, free app to download. Pick a topic. Let your child come home with the next topic they don't understand and go on in here and find it. I'm telling you now, it's fantastic. Cool apps for schools. This is Claire O'Riordan has developed this. She works for the PDST. She's a primary school teacher. Every app that's on here is an app review, and it's either a free one or a paid one. And it's telling you what it's good for. So whether it's helping children learn how to type or learn how to with speech or learning how to improve your maths, improve your English, whatever it is, right? There's apps in there and they're reviewed, paid ones and free ones. And you can decide then, oh, I'll try that one if it comes recommended. And the beauty about this coolappsforschools.com is it's complementing the Irish primary school curriculum. And that's where Claire comes in because she's a primary school teacher herself. So bear that in mind. So for younger kids, when they come home saying, can I please get Roblox? Remember, learn with them, research together, build rules together. Now, obviously you can't do that with a 3-year-old, but start the conversation. It's never too early. Branch out carefully with research, discussing things. That age, no, but maybe we can find an alternative app that actually does what you want it to do. Search, research, look it up, and use the tech tools. So whatever app you download, you remember that there's safety settings in there that you can set up. And I will be going through those safety settings with you in the next webinar. Okay, so it's amazing stuff that you can do really simply to monitor content, restrict access to websites, manage time that they're online. They can't download anything without coming to you first and asking for permission. There's so much you can do. And I'll be talking about that in the next webinar. For the older teens, tweens, you'll overhear them. You always know when there's something going on or you're something, you check in with them regularly. You know that yourselves. Check in regularly with your kids. It could be when you're driving and they're in the back seat, or it could be when they're in bed or doing the dishes or, shopping or emptying out the car, whatever it is, check in with them. If you heard them saying something through gaming or on the phone, or you know your own child, just bring it up. So how are things? And just open up the space for them and let them talk. My kids certainly don't want me talking a lot, I can tell you that. But they do want to talk at me sometimes and talk to me. And you know, so I think sometimes it's a regulation thing. They need to constantly talk, get it out, and it helps them calm down. They don't want to listen to me and what I have to say. So ask and listen often. Discuss free apps. Remember what I showed you? There is no such thing as free. When you use something that's free, there has to be a catch. It's information you're giving away. So think about what you're giving away every time. And think about the photos you're sharing, the videos, the comments, everything. Help them take breaks. Get off that device. You know, they get sick of that. It doesn't work. What the key here is to say to them is, would you like to help me with this? If you know that they love doing that, whatever it is. So find the things that they love offline. That's how you lure them away from the device. And they do need those breaks from their devices. They just need your help sometimes, or a lot of the time. But it's about, you can do the managing screen time and setting up the rules for how long they're online, but also having them get off it, have something that they really want to do offline as well. And encourage its good uses, like I said earlier. So just to summarize, make sure they have a place to turn. Be prepared for whatever they come and tell you, or that you may find out. But wouldn't you prefer your child to tell you than have anyone else tell you? So always encourage them to come to you, and that you won't overreact, and you'll be practical with them. Get involved with them. And anything that happens, a moment of adversity, remember, thank them for telling you. Use it as an opportunity for conversation where you're both learning and you're both developing that relationship even more, tighter, stronger. And it strengthens their resilience. It's really important. Show them the choices they do have and the things that they can do that's within their control, you know? And engage other parents. I can't stress this one enough. If your kids want to come home wanting something and they're telling you that everyone in the class has it and they don't, that's why it's so good to check in with the other parents. Chances are none of them have it, you know, in the class, just from personal experience. So, you know, if you're checking in with parents, you can agree rules together so that when they all want a phone when they're 7, all the parents are like, no, we're absolutely not. You know, you have to learn to respect the internet, respect devices, learn how to use them, be responsible with them. And, you know, you have to show that to me. And that's why we're doing all these rules and privacy settings and safety settings. And that over time you build that up and you will get it, but not now. Absolutely not, you know. Show them what kindness is. So, How Full Is Your Bucket is a book that Norma said to put in here, and I actually read it myself. It's a lovely book. So, you know, there's people that fill your bucket up with kindness and goodness in the day, and then there's people that'll drain it. And this book is a little boy who also realizes that he actually drains other people's buckets, but he also fills them. So that kindness thing. So, you know, show them what kindness looks like online. When you see it, remember it at dinner, bring it up. So that's it. That's the webinar over, a few minutes over. My apologies about that. The next one will be on gaming and social networks. And like I said, it'll be 3 games, 3 social networks, what they are, how they work, and where to go and how to set up the settings. And I will stay on the call for as long as you have questions. And the one after that in April will be about devices and time online, keeping it safe and fun, how to manage screen time. And there's some excellent stuff coming. I'm really excited to share it with you. And the final one, which is only what we discussed recently, Norma and myself, is that the 3 webinars, we're going to collate all the questions that we get asked. And we're going to, on the 4th webinar, just share with you the summaries of the 3 past webinars and the popular questions that were asked and the answers, and then open it up to a Q&A. Any parent that has any questions, because it's great for parents to talk to each other and just to open it up as well, to share information with each other. What works for you, and so on. When you finish this webinar and hang up on me, you will be directed to our website. So you're going to be on it, right? And it's a feedback form. Please give me your feedback. I would really appreciate your feedback, and be honest. What you liked, what you'd like more of. I purposely didn't go into too much detail on this webinar because the first one has to be more holistic and a framework, and to give you the confidence to keep going, not too much information. The next one will be more into the detail about how to, okay? And I'm going to close this webinar off, the presentation, by showing you the website, okay? So I'm just going to stop my share, and I'm just going to share with you. Okay. Wrong one. Apologies. Here we go. So this is our website. Internet safety, you can see there, trendmicro.com, internet safety. That's the website. And you will be directed here afterwards to this feedback form. But all you have to do is go back here, look to home, and you'll be back on the home page. And you can see here down the bottom, this is an accessibility feature that I think is really, really great to be aware of. If, for example, someone in your home has ADHD, it really helps a person focus on what they want to look at on a web page, which I think is just fascinating. It teaches a lot of people who don't have ADHD what it is even, and helps them understand it better. So there's a lot of stuff in here: cognitive impairments, visual impairments, and so on. Colors, flashing, it can all be scaled down according to your needs. So be aware of that, okay? And that's that little fella there, that little icon on the bottom left. If you look at the three kind of blocks here in the middle, you've got parents, kids, and resources. You see the Cyber Academy here, take the safety challenge, but you also see webinars and events. So this session is recorded. It won't be on the events page, but I'll be sending it to the CDNT and Enable Ireland, and they'll be sharing it out. Norma will be sharing it out with everyone. So please feel free to use this, and all the resources on it, it's all free. You don't even have to register. So if you look at the webinars here, you can look at it up here, or you can look at it down here. And if you choose webinars, or if you choose Cyber Academy, so say you choose the Cyber Academy, this is the Cyber Academy. And like I showed you on the slides, all of these episodes are here for you to use. This is the camera safety one. If you hit camera safety, there's the video, step 1. Step 2, the conversation guide I told you about, have the chat with them. Step 3, and you can print it off as well if you want. Step 3 is the Kahoot quiz. Kids love it, it's great fun. All different ways to reinforce their learning. Different sensory ways as well, touch, audio, sound, speaking, the whole lot. And then you've got step 4, the final one, which is the activity sheet. And that looks like this, like a coloring thing. What things, would you share this photo online? What information is in it that you can see? They're being encouraged to be a detective here. You're trying to get them to think, don't think about what you share online. Then if you look back here at webinars, we've got some amazing webinars, and one that I would really recommend to you is my boss Lynette Owens hosts these webinars. She's based in Boston, and I'd be the producer in the background. This one here, dealing with screen time challenges, is fantastic. If you ever get a chance going for a walk, put it in the headset and listen to it. The bottom one here, Kids and Autism by Dr. Michael Rich from Children's Boston University Hospital. Excellent, excellent webinar recording to listen to, where he's interviewed his co-hosts and he talks all about it. There's so much stuff in here, everything you've ever been curious about. And then the other thing here that I think is worth telling you about is the resources. If you look at the resources page, these are top tip sheets, right? So we've got 8 top tip sheets, and they come in up to 10 different languages. So if you wanted to have the top tips on bullying, or top tips on managing screen time, or top tips on gaming online, you've got all these languages and you can print it off. There you go. So I think that's very valuable. And the last one we've added there is privacy. Probably the next one we're going to be doing is frequently asked questions by parents on internet safety nights. I think that's going to be the next one. And then here, you see the events page. So the events page is, this is a talk I held last night actually, but you'll see all upcoming events will be here, and I do them with sign language as well. I did one last night with sign language. That will be here if you're interested in looking at that. So that's everything. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining, and we're delighted to Trend Micro to be able to do this, and we're looking forward to the next webinars. And I just realized there that you can't see the screen changing. Look at that. I'm so sorry about that. Sorry, Alan. Sorry. I don't know. Is it work? Do you want me to share it again? Let me see if I can. Does this work? Can you see that now? Let's see, changing screen. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Alan. So I don't know where you did and didn't see. So that was the activity sheet. This is the webinar with all of the really good things. The bottom one there was about autism. That webinar, really good stuff in there. The resources page with all the different languages, top tips, all of them. The events page. By the end of this week, you'll have one on sign language here. And there'll be a few more too. So if you're interested and you know someone who's audio impaired, hearing impaired, please be mindful that this is here for you as well. And there'll be 2 more coming soon. And the last one is the feedback form. So, you know, it's all there at your fingertips. And if you ever want to contact us, you can contact me there as well on the page. And if you forget the website, just remember Trim Micro Internet Safety. That easy. So I wonder, is there any questions? And I'm conscious some people may want to, they've left, one person's left already. Using the Kindle to read before bed, does that go into the same category as a device? So I'm going to share with you a personal experience on this. When I read, I'm gone in 3 minutes, and tomorrow night I have to read the same pages again. I love my Kindle. I can't actually sleep without a Kindle. It reminds me of a baby's bottle going to bed, or a soother, a dummy. But that's me and my book, my Kindle. And I realized that with one of my children, they went into bed with a book, but they were up till 2, 3 in the morning. They wouldn't go to sleep. And reading revved them up into this high alert status. They were like nocturnal creatures that it's like 2 o'clock in the day, right? So a Kindle is fine if it relaxes them and they nod off to sleep fairly quickly. So you just have to think, what are they getting out of it? Does it knock them off and relax them? Or is it wiring them up and waking them up and they can't stop reading? And by the time they're finished the book, it's like, wide awake now, what do I do? So I think it's one to just be mindful of. Can work. And with the Kindle, you know, you can change the screen. So it's black, it's white on black. I do that. That's good for them as well, just so that it's not, you know, visually overstimulating for them in bed. Does that answer that question? I hope it does. The other one is what kind of backup system do you recommend, Anne-Marie? So for the backup system, kind of depends on the device that you have, right? So I have an iOS device, and call me lazy, but I looked up and it said, you know, for $2.99 a month, you know, you can back up your data to the cloud. So I set it up through my device. It was that easy, like. Maybe there's cheaper ways to do it out there, but because, and I'll show you the screen time thing later in the next webinar, I have my kids set up on screen time, and I can share my storage with them. I can share my music with them. I can share my Find My thing with them. I can share everything with them through the screen time, and it's really useful. So there's probably a few reasons that I did it, but depending on the device that you have, I would say best thing to do is to look online. If you know, if you're buying a car or what, like a Hoover or a kettle or whatever you're buying, you know, the way you'd look online to see what are the best, the ones that last the longest and the best value for money, and, you know, have all the needs that you have. So the best thing to do when you're looking for storage or even security software or whatever it is, go online and say, what is the best storage for my device? You know, what are the best services out there for backup storage? Cloud storage providers, best cloud storage providers. Now you're going to get ads targeted at you first, so scroll down a bit, and then you'll see maybe Tech Something top 10 storage providers of the year 2021, and they will have a proper research done. It's kind of like, you know, when you're getting your house insurance and you go through a broker and the broker's done all the homework on the cheapest insurance for you, same kind of thing. I would say do that research by just simply putting in best apps to, or best, you know, whatever it is you're looking for. But when it comes to cloud storage, now you could buy a hard drive too. I have one of them here. It cost me money. you know, so you just download it, you stick it into the side of the computer. Oops. Stick it into the side of the computer. I think it cost me in a local shop here. Cost me a good bit of money now. I can't remember, 50 or 60 euros. But I had so many precious photographs, I thought I cannot lose them. But since I bought it and downloaded all my stuff to it, when you want something out of it, you have to go to this. You have to plug it in and you have to load it up and you have to search through. God. So cloud storage is so much easier. You literally go in and load it and you're accessed straight away. So this is a good way to, I know I have a friend at work, he gives it to his friend and he takes his friend's one, you know, just in case anything happened to your house, or fridge, you know, but that this is not in your house as well, so that you still have that backup. And it could be insurance documents, wills, bank stuff, anything like that you could put in it, put it somewhere safe. Put it in someone else's house and they're safe. I hope that answers your question, Anne-Marie. Not at all. There's no more questions. I think that's it. If nobody has any other questions, this will be recorded anyway. I would ask you, when you do receive it, share it with others. And I